Hello, and thank you for joining me for a special episode of Lights Out. I'm your hostess with the mostest ghosties, Sylvia Shults. This is episode 80 of Lights Out, the 80th time we've gathered around the virtual campfire together. I'm so glad you're here because this is going to be an awesome show. It's an overnight stay, so grab your sleeping bags and your pillows, and let's go Lights Out. On a quiet residential street in a small town in Iowa sits a neat, tidy white frame house. There's an arbor in the backyard and a patch of rhubarb next to the back corner of the barn. There's one thing, though, that sets this quiet house apart from the others on the block: a legacy of horror and unspeakable tragedy. After all, this is the only house on the block that comes with its very own sign in the front yard. A sign that reads, Villisca Axe Murder House, June 10th, 1912. The evening of June 10th was a festive one in the Moore household. Josiah Moore, aged 43, had squired his wife Sarah, aged 39, to the Presbyterian church that evening. Sarah had coordinated the Children's Day program at the church, and the Moores' 4 children, Herman, 11, Catherine, 10, Boyd, 7, and Paul, 5, had accompanied their parents. The Stillinger family was also at the program that night. Since they lived out in the country, Catherine invited Ina and Lena Stillinger to spend the night at her house. Lena was 12 and Ina was 8, so they were friends to 10-year-old Catherine. With 3 brothers, Catherine relished the chance to spend time with girls close to her age. The Children's Day program ended at 9:30 that night. The Moore family, along with the Stillinger girls, walked home from the church, arriving home around 9:45 or 10 p.m. They went to bed soon after that, with Ina and Lena taking the bed in the guest room. At 7 a.m. the next day, the Moores' neighbor, Mary Peckham, realized that the Moores hadn't come outside yet to do the morning chores. She herself had been out at 5 a.m. to hang laundry. She knocked on the door, but got no answer. She tried to go inside, but the door was locked. Odd for a small Iowa town in 1912. Mary, being a good neighbor, let the Moores' chickens out to forage in the yard, then called Ross Moore, Josiah's brother. Ross came over with his key and unlocked the door. While Mary waited nervously on the porch, Ross went inside the too quiet house. Nothing could have prepared him for what waited for him inside. Ross went through the parlor and opened the door to the guest room. A smell like 100 wet pennies hit his nose, so thick it almost coated his tongue. There was blood everywhere. Lena had cuts on her arm and was lying crossways on the bed. Her face had been bludgeoned repeatedly. Ina was just dead, her face another smashed-in horror. Ross backed away from the sight, then realized that the house was still too quiet as the grave. He went out onto the porch and told Mary to call the sheriff immediately. City Marshal Hank Horton arrived shortly and went into the house. He went up the narrow staircase to the second floor, the wooden steps creaking loudly under his weight. The only sounds were the complaining steps and Horton's own panicked breathing. At the top of the stairs, another gruesome scene waited for him. Josiah and Sarah lay in their bed, their faces pulped beyond recognition by countless blows from an axe. Horton gulped and continued on to the children's bedroom. Blood soaked the bed sheets, the pillows, and the pajamas of the 4 pitiful little figures. No children should be that still, but there they all lay. Herman, Catherine, Boyd, Paul. They had also been slaughtered in their beds. Their faces, too, had been smashed with the blunt end of an axe. The theory is this. Someone snuck into the Moores' home when the family was at the church program. 2 cigarette butts found in the attic suggest that the killer hid there for hours, right next to the Moores' bedroom. Shortly after midnight, the killer crept from his hiding place and launched his grisly attacks. The slaughter began in the master bedroom. Josiah Moore got the worst of it. He had more blows than any other victim, and the killer used the blade of the axe, not the blunt end as he did with the others. Josiah's face was cut so badly his eyes were missing. Sarah was killed with more blows from the weapon. Next, the killer went into the children's bedroom and used the blunt edge of the blade some more. After the 4 children had been killed, the attacker went back through the parents' bedroom. On his way past, he knocked over one of Sarah's shoes that had filled with blood. Then he went downstairs to the kitchen. The killer filled a basin with water and did a bit of washing up. Then he fixed himself a plate of food. A small noise from the guest room may have alerted him to the fact that not everyone in the house was lying upstairs dead. He walked into the guest room and killed Ina and Lena too. Lena may have woken up, which would explain why her body was partway off the bed and not lying peacefully in bed like all the other victims. After murdering the Stillinger girls, the killer left behind his plate of food and the bowl of bloody washing-up water. He also left the murder weapon in the guest room. And why not? After all, it was Josiah Moore's own axe. This tragedy, more than a century old, has left its mark on the neat little white house. Investigators come from near and far to experience this house, and it can be a very active place. Investigators have been touched. People have heard whispers, children's voices, unexplained noises. The tour guide at the house tells of coming to the house one afternoon and hearing heavy footsteps upstairs. He sighed to himself, thinking that someone had broken in, someone that he would have to deal with by himself. The sheriff in Villisca quit several years ago. There simply wasn't enough crime to keep him busy. The tour guide went upstairs to confront the intruder, but there was no one there. The energy in the house can affect people in strange ways. On November 7th, 2014, a ghost hunter from Wisconsin named Robert Larson, Jr., was at the house with 2 other investigators. Larson was alone in one of the bedrooms when his friends heard him scream for help. They raced in and found Larson covered in his own blood. He'd been stabbed in the chest. Some say the wound was self-inflicted. Others are not so sure. And the creepiest part? According to the Montgomery County Police report, the stabbing occurred at 12:45 a.m., about the time the Moores and Stillingers were murdered. Villisca was once the site of Native American hunting grounds. Local legend has it that the entire town is built over the land where the natives buried their enemies, in shallow graves, and face down so they couldn't find their way to the light and be doomed to wander the earth as restless spirits forever. Even the name of the town is derived from the Native American Villisca, which means evil spirit. I arrived in Villisca early in the evening, early enough that all the other investigators decided to hit the town's diner for supper. I wanted to spend as much time at the house as I could. Troy Taylor of American Hauntings, our host for the evening, graciously let me have the key to the house so I could explore while everyone else was at supper. I am doing at least a 30-minute alone challenge in the Villisca Axe Murder House. It depends on when everybody else gets back from supper, I guess. It's 6:28 now. 6:28 in the evening, so about 7 o'clock. I guess my 30-minute alone challenge will be done. We'll see. So I am here by myself in the house where 8 people were brutally murdered June 10th, 1912. And I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty freaking spooky here. I have my amethyst on and my ankh. And right now I'm going to take a drink of my tea, just so that I am very, very protected. Oh, tell me I brought the video camera. That would suck out loud to have just the camera, just the stand and not the camera. How stupid would I feel? It is May 11th, 2019, and I am doing an at least 30-minute alone challenge in the Villisca X murder house. I'm in the blue room right now. The Villisca house is a very, very pretty little house. I don't see how you could raise 4 children in it, but it's a very sweet little house. I don't know if that door opens. We're not gonna dick with that. Okay, here we go. Okay, wandering around in the kitchen. Standing still listening for creaks and thumps. Haven't heard anything yet, just myself walking around. But I gotta say, I'm really glad I'm doing this when it's still light outside. I'm headed upstairs. Oh, this is nice. Gosh. As you come up the stairs, it makes a turn, and you find yourself in another bedroom. That is, I want to say it's really nice, but I know what happened here, so it's eerie as well. So you come up the stairs and turn, and you find yourself in the bedroom of J.B. Moore, age 43, and Mrs. J.B. Moore, age 39. I'll go ahead and take a picture of that little bit here. And we are not to sit on the bed or the rocking chair. Oh, shit. The attic was right here. Oh my God. The attic was where the killer hid until he came out to do his nefarious deeds. Oh my heavens, he was right here. He was right next to these sleeping people. Heaven's sakes. Wow. Okay, so you come through the Moore's bedroom, and There's another little bedroom here which belonged to the children. What is this? Oh, it's a closet. All right. Fair enough. And the children that were killed in this room were Boyd Moore, age 7, Paul Moore, age 5, Herman Moore, age 11, and Catherine Moore, age 10. Oh, you poor little kids. Goodness. I don't know where the beds were back in the day, but I'm taking pictures. Get behind here. Apparently, from what I've read and heard, the people were bludgeoned with the blunt end of the axe, and there was spatter all over the walls. It was just a true mess. It's a really lovely little room in a lovely little house. I'm going to stand here for a moment and see if anyone wants to talk to me. I've still got the recorder going. Hello? My name is Sylvia. What's your name? I'm standing in your bedroom right now. It's a really lovely room. It looks like a fun place to play on a rainy day. Did you like playing up here? Thank you for showing me your room. I'll come back in a little bit. There is a ball right at the corner of these seams here. I'm going to take a picture of that just because. Now, I've visited lots of spooky places. At this point, I've pretty much donated my fight or flight response to science. But in the attic, where the killer hid, I noticed that there were nails poking out of the ceiling from the roofing being nailed down. It looks like it would be quite hazardous to negotiate under that ceiling in the dark, especially if you were tall. We know one thing about the murderer. He was probably a tall guy, as there were gouges in the bedroom ceilings where the axe struck the plaster on the upswing. Those gouges are still there to this day. At any rate, as soon as I registered how badly you could hurt yourself by standing up too fast under those hundreds of nail points, well, that's when things started to feel really wrong. Okay. And now, again, famous last words. I can't believe I'm doing this. All right, the entrance to the attic. It seems weird to say attic when it's on the same floor as the second floor. I'm not used to that. It is inside a closet. And there are jingle bells hanging on the wall. That's very perspicacious of some investigator. I'm going to go here inside the closet by myself because I am an idiot. was me. Well, that was a creak from the board that I'm standing on, so I expect it was me. It's a very small room. Tidy little attic. There are a couple of attic-y things up here. Some Christmas tree bits. And of course balls and jacks for the kids. I wonder if the children ever played in this attic. I can ask them. Kids, did you play in this attic on rainy days when it wasn't too hot? Oh, you would really have to watch your head in here. Holy shit. There are nails sticking up all through the wood. Holy crap. Okay. Well, I have to tell my listeners that as soon as I said something about nails and hurty bits, I started feeling really freaking weird. Okay, I'm leaving. Nope. I'm getting out of here right now. Yeah, that's just too nopey for me right now. Catherine, did you like to play with dolls in the attic? Herman, did you ever pretend the attic was the deck of a pirate ship? Catherine, were you friends with Ina and Lena? I think Boyd and Paul were a little too young for that. Catherine, were the Stillinger girls your friends? All right. Just to prove I'm not a freaking pussy, I'm going to go back into the attic for just a little while. Oh. No, don't punk out on me. You're still recording, right? Yeah. I have a notice on my phone from Maps. It says, Villisca Axe Murder House. Help others know what to expect. Well, it's creepy, that's for sure. Alright. Whatever evil is in this room and in this house, you are not allowed to harm me. You are not allowed to touch me. You are not allowed to accompany me home. You are not allowed to hurt me in any way. Do you understand? Okay, that heavy ooky feeling is gone for the moment, thank goodness, because that was not fun, even for somebody that doesn't consider herself terribly sensitive. I'm going to take another picture here. I'm going to take boatloads of pictures and see if anything shows up. This is kind of interesting construction here. I'm just going to take a picture of that just for shits and giggles. Because that's like the point of the house. That's neat. I know I'm just rambling on at this point. That was the floor creaking. I just think it's so neat, this little closet here. The rest of the house is so much airier and more pleasant. Okay. I am going to go downstairs. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to sit up here for a while. This chair doesn't say "don't sit in me." And I'm going to see what else transpires. Is there anyone here with me right now? Mrs. Moore, you have a lovely home. Thank you for letting me be a guest in your home for a while. Boyd, Paul, are you going to play with this ball that's on the floor? It's a pretty red ball. How about if you two sit on the floor and roll it back and forth between you? I have a question for whatever it was in the attic room. Did you chase me out on purpose? I'm going to get up and go into the children's room again. Hey, kiddos. I've come here for a visit. I understand that Boyd and Paul and Herman and Catherine and Ina and Lena might still be here, or at least come back for a visit. Can one of you come and hold my hand? It's okay to hold my hand if you want to. If you don't want to, I understand. I'm a stranger yet. And you're wise to be scared of strangers. Okay. First impressions of the Villisca house. Oh, here's another big closet. That's nice. It's nice in the daytime. This was somebody's home. This was a place where a family was happy. Other impressions, it's smaller than I expected it to be, I guess. But it's very nice. And, oh boy, if you walk around in the kitchen, everything shakes. My goodness. Okay. Well, this is nice. Okay, right now I'm going to walk around outside and take some pictures. Because this yard is just gorgeous too. You guys see the cardinals calling? Lots of cardinals here. This is just such a pretty little house. I want to see where that front door goes. Look at that nice porch and everything. It's pretty quiet, small. Hi. Hello, Mr. Robin. How are you? Hi. Oh, funny. All right, so this door goes into the kitchen. No, that door goes into the kitchen. This door goes into the parlor. Okay, I got it. What? I'm walking around the outside of the house now, and there are tons and tons of birds out here. I just got kamikazed by a robin. Flew straight at my face and then jinked when he was like 4 feet away. So, I don't know, the robins are very territorial around here. Soon everyone came back from supper, and I had to share the house. In the parlor, we had lots of fun playing with the REM pod. We'd love it if you'd say hello again.
Do you want it louder? I mean, I can get it.
Oh, no, that's fine.
I don't know if everybody can hear.
Or just a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, you can hear all the way across the room.
Are you here? Would you like to speak to us?
My name's Sylvia. Can you tell me your name? Thank you for letting us be guests in your home. It's a beautiful home. Would you like to sit and have a conversation in the parlor?
Is there anything to be afraid of in this home?
Are you good with an axe?
That's the second time that could be in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I just heard that go off.
That was the second time.
What did?
Your
Like
rent,
her
your
rent
rent
pod.
pod.
Oh, it did?
Uh-huh.
I got a peek.
Like real quick.
That was the second time tonight.
Should we be scared about being in this house after dark?
There it goes again.
Oh.
Can you put your hand on that antenna? Can you hold it there?
Wow.
Wow.
you.
Oh my God.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful.
That was. Do you want me to turn the radio off? I would say yes.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Should do yes no's with the rent pod.
Do you like it better without the radio? Okay.
Thank you. Just so you know, when you touch that thing poking up there, that means yes. Or that means that you agree. And that's the way we know that you're here.
I wonder how far up.
Are you one of the kids?
Yeah, I wonder how far up though that will read, because the antennas.
Huh?
Did you used to live here?
In order for that to react, something's got to be close.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it won't read
Okay.
up. Like if I come up here right now,
Yeah, I
it's
see that.
because I'm close. So anytime it does, okay, you didn't like that, huh? Sorry. Won't mess with it.
We'll let you play with
We'll
it.
let you play with it.
Are you a boy?
So.
I would think that it's a boy. Are you a little boy? I wish I knew how to read Morse code.
That's pretty fun making that light up, isn't it?
Make them all light up. Can you do that?
If you lean over real close to it, they'll all light up.
It's fun, isn't it? It's crazy because I've never had it go off like that before, ever.
Really?
Ever.
You're
Can you
doing
stop
so
doing that?
great. Can you move a little farther away from it? Can you maybe move away from that for a little bit and sit in this rocking chair?
It's like, no,
I know it's fun.
I found a new toy and I'm playing with it.
I know it's fun. Can you tell one of the other children to sit in the rocking chair, please?
Nope, I've got this and I'm playing with it.
And it wasn't doing that for the longest time.
No, it just sat there silent. If I move it, I wonder if you'll
Well-
find it.
Joelle, is there anybody else up there?
No.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna move you. Okay, we're gonna move you over here. Can you find it again? Oh, I made you mad.
Fine.
Oh, give him
I'm
time.
sorry.
It's easier for you to reach on the floor. Can you come over and play with it some more?
And nothing's moving. All of our meters, nothing.
I wonder if you put it back if they'll go off again.
Do you want me to put it back? Okay. All right, this is it.
Gotta be, yeah.
Yeah.
There's gotta be something that, okay. Because it wasn't.
It wasn't doing anything, and then it
So-
started.
Something, it's gotta be something.
The pipe? Maybe.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
No? So much for that theory. It's like, okay, you didn't believe me, I'm not gonna play anymore. No, it sat there silent for.
Yeah, it did.
And even if it was some sort of electrical source,
It'll still be there.
it would still be
Should
there.
still be there.
It would still be going right now.
You make it go off one more time.
And there are no lights upstairs or anything, right?
Correct.
So someone being upstairs couldn't have caused that.
There's no electricity in the house except for the air conditioners, but those are wired outside.
Oh, that is sweet.
Okay, we've turned the radio back on. Can you say hello? Please use the radio to say hello to us.
Say I can't?
That's exactly what I heard.
That's what I thought I heard.
It said I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Can you play with the lights again?
Can you play a tune for us on the piano?
It almost sounded like it started going.
I thought that train was a piano. Or just
What? Is that what it said?
It said what? Are there other children here that would like to play? There's just no one around. All of our meters are like.
I don't feel
It
anything
was
at
hot
all.
for like 20 minutes, now it's dead.
It was crazy active, and then.
It was shortly after this that I had my best experience in the Villisca house. Really, one of my best experiences ever. It was just past dusk. I went upstairs to the children's bedroom by myself. I had been told that seeing the closet door close by itself was a fairly common occurrence, and I dearly wished to see it for myself. Spoiler alert, it didn't happen that night. We were told that we couldn't sleep on the beds, but that sitting on them to investigate was okay. I was sitting on the end of the bed closest to the window. Another bed was perpendicular to me, on my right, and I was facing the closet door. I was sitting there in the half-light, watching the closet door, when from the bed to my right I heard... It didn't sound like a finger snap. It sounded like the quick crack of a branch breaking. There have been only 2 times on investigations where I've nearly jumped out of my skin, and this was one of them. Being the intrepid, fearless professional that I am, I immediately yelped, very professionally, "What the fuck was that?" I sat there for a few moments, waiting for my racing heartbeat to slow. Then I realized that something really cool had just happened, and I should share it with the others. I went out of the room, headed downstairs. As I passed the attic door, I poked my head in. A couple of investigators were sitting there in the gloom. "What was that noise?" they asked. "I have no idea," I replied. "So you didn't make that noise?" I continued, just to confirm. "Nope, wasn't us." I nodded and went to the top of the stairs. I had just taken a couple of steps down when Lisa, the co-host of the event along with Troy, appeared at the bottom of the steps. "Oh my gosh, Lisa, you'll never believe what just happened," I gushed. And in a dry voice she said, "Yeah, we know." Remember when I said the house is very small? Well, sound carries. In the moment after I dropped my F-bomb upstairs, Troy turned to Lisa downstairs and remarked, "Huh, I've never heard Sylvia cuss like that." After that, I returned to the children's bedroom with a couple other investigators, and it seemed that something was intrigued by our EMF meter. Okay, whoever's making my meter light up, if you want to say something, go ahead. Can you tell me your name? My name's Sylvia. Can you tell me your name? If I sing a song, can you sing it with me? Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder. I'm really happy that you're sitting with me and making my meter go off. I'd be even happier if you closed the closet door or opened it. I know it's hard. I know it's easier to play with the lights. You getting anything on the millimeter?
No.
Well, you are so good at making those lights light up. I am so proud of you.
I'm not getting anything on mine.
My goodness. You are so good at that. I'm going to take a picture of it. It's going to be a flash here when that starts up again. Good job.
Did it capture it?
Yeah. Can you do it again? I didn't quite get that, did I? You are being so good at lighting those up. You are skunking me, my dear.
Can we enter with you?
Sure. We've got other people coming to visit us. Flash here in a second. That's so good. Come on. Ah. Can you make them light up and stay lit up? Please? I'm gonna go away now that different people came in. You can come in and visit us. Other people here who want to say hello to you. That's it. Can you make it go all the way up to the red again? Oh, you're trying so hard. Super good. Good. Oh, you have to make it stay there, honey. Come on. I want to get a picture of it all the way up into the red. Can you help me? Oh, super good. Did I get it? Yes. I got a picture of the yellow. That is so good. Can you let me take a picture of the meter all the way in the red? You're doing so good at lighting that up. That's the way. Well, you're halfway there. Oh, don't be shy. You can come closer. Perfect. You're doing so good.
Can you make all three go off at the same time again?
I wish I'd taken a picture of that. That was awesome.
Picture that.
We were also just so jazzed about it. Nobody thought to take a picture.
If we didn't think it was gonna last that long, you know, it's like.
I know. It's about 10:15. Still May 11th. Still at the Villisca house. And I am sitting quietly in the parlor. Now, maybe it hasn't sunk in yet or anything, but even with the horrible atrocities that happened here, the feeling I get from this house is a feeling of peace. If it ends up that way, I'm going to be, knock on wood, I'm going to be perfectly comfortable rolling out a sleeping bag and crashing out on the floor for a little while. Eventually, the evening wound down. We'd been asked by the owners not to sleep in the beds, so I rolled out a sleeping bag on the floor of the parlor. I set up a camera to watch me as I slept. I figured either I'd be really unnerved when I watched it later, or it would be the most boring recording ever. Another spoiler alert, nothing happened. I actually slept fairly well. The only thing that spoiled my sleep was that there was an air conditioner in the guest room, the only concession to modern times, that kept kicking on. Maybe if I'd closed the guest room door I'd have slept better, but that just didn't occur to me. In the morning I packed up all my equipment and loaded the car. Since he knew I was spending the night and would be the last one out, Troy entrusted me with the key to the house, with instructions on where to leave it for the owner when I'd locked up. I'm still equal parts humbled and jazzed to realize that, for a few hours, I had the responsibility for the key to the Villisca axe murder house. Now, here's where things got a little weird again. Once I'd packed the car and sat under the arbor in the yard enjoying an energy bar for breakfast, I wanted to make one last run through the house before I locked up and gave the key back, especially now that I was alone again. Remember, this was in broad daylight at about 9 in the morning. Here's what happened. I went back into the house, intending to take one more picture in the children's bedroom. To do that, of course, I had to go up the stairs. Late the night before, another investigator and I had been sitting in that room, quietly discussing the history of the murder. She told me that the crime scene cleanup had largely been done during the mass funeral held for the victims. The authorities figured that since most of the town would be at the funeral, they could avoid a lot of looky-loos hanging out at the house during the cleanup. She further told me that the folks doing the cleanup simply rolled the blood-soaked mattresses up, tied them with cord, and chucked them out the windows to land on the lawn, rather than trying to carry them down the stairs. That made sense to me, and that was a really graphic image. As I went up the stairs that morning, I started thinking about all that cleanup. Then, of course, I started thinking about the logistics of getting the bodies out of the house. The staircase leading from the first floor to the second floor is very narrow and cramped. Of course, first responders could carry the children's bodies down with a little difficulty. But what about Josiah and Sarah? Their bodies would have had to come down the stairs in a fireman's carry, slung over the shoulders of some strong man, or carried awkwardly, head and foot, by two men making their way down those stairs with their gruesome burden. Neither scenario was a pleasant mental image. I used to write horror fiction, and I have a good imagination. It was the work of mere moments for my helpful brain to conjure up the picture of bloody bodies slumped in first responders' arms, being carried down the same stairs that I was currently walking up. I stomped down the urge to run, but I can tell you that I didn't linger in the bedroom after I took the picture I wanted. So, yes, I got to spend a whole night at the Villisca axe murder house. My thoughts? I believe that what happened in that house on June 10th, 1912, definitely left its mark. I was serious when I said, for the recording, that the Moore family was happy there. This was a home in which a couple was raising their children. They seemed to be happy kids. The daughter was confident enough to invite her friends to spend the night. And, with the possible exception of Lena Stillinger, none of these people knew they were being murdered. They didn't suffer. There were no signs of a struggle. They went to bed, and they never woke up. That's why I felt comfortable enough to sleep there. I also think, though, that the house remembers, or that there's an imprint of some kind. Remember, the Moores came home after a lovely, relaxing evening and went to bed. Remember, too, that Mary Peckham realized the next morning that something was terribly wrong. The murders were discovered in the morning. Is that why I felt a sense of peace at night, but a sense of nervous dread in the morning? I don't know. All I can tell you is how I felt. After such an exhilarating adventure, I wasn't ready to call it quits on the weekend. From Villisca, it's just a short drive to Malvern, Iowa, home of Malvern Manor. This former hotel is also magnificently haunted. But that is a story for the next time we go lights out.